Oh yeah, by the way, one thing we totally forgot to mention about, in regards to the forms of the versus space, just like the forms of how it does it on Super Mario Party, where it comes to the versus spaces alike, basically though is the fact that once the actual, the minigame has been ended, well, the actual, one of those battle minigames has been ended, and basically what happens is that the versus space will once again disappear throughout the majority of the board. Yeah, so it's kind of like the same thing as in Super Mario Party, except, well, thankfully the boards in this game is actually a little bit more bigger than the forms of how it does it on the Super variation, so... Well, don't you mean Super Mario Party, specifically Pac-Man? Oh, right. My mistake. So, yeah, anyway, in terms of items they've got for this game this time around, is the fact that, well, some of these items do return, as I mentioned it before, from the likes of the forms of how certain items do return, from the likes of in Super Mario Party, but there are some differences that I found out, is the fact that, well, for one noticeable thing, the golden mushroom is no longer there anymore. Yeah, I guess I was gonna be thinking about the same thing, for the sake of convenience, so... Anyway, so let's get into Archery Rifle, and this is from Mario Party 2. So of course, we need able to dodge the actual archer right here, in some cases though Birdo. And the fact of the matter is though, is the fact that if you try to aim for any other NPC's targets, unfortunately though, unlike the original version of Mario Party 2, where usually in the original version of that minigame that you get some additional coins, but in this version this time around though, they're just for bragging rights I guess. Although, the only time it's pretty useful though, is the fact that it can actually block the other three players in during that specific path. So, yeah, it might be pretty worth noting for in regards to the forms of everything else you could able to predict it for that time. So, either way though, everything else will be expected by then, so... So, convenient enough, we somehow win. Yeah, because after all, that Birdo, she just constantly focusing on Peach at this point in time. So, yeah, and that way we're able to get double the amount of coins, and it seems that both us and Peach are actually getting pretty close to the coins value at the moment. So we definitely need to focus on the forms of the boost dueling department until for later. So, not now anyway though, because it looks like that Donkey Kong is gonna go after the next star, thanks to the forms of that particular event space. So... yeah, because most of the time though, just like in the original version of this board, basically though, depending on how the dice roll is going to be reacting into, sometimes though, it's automatically going to magnetically attract it to the event spaces most of the time, which is always kind of feels a bit inconsistent sometimes, but it surely has to be, so... Anyway, so we got ourselves the warp block, so just in case we can able to switch places to the other player. And also we got ourselves the first Bowser space as far as this is concerned. So in some cases though, Birdo, she will get herself her third star right now. So yeah, I guess that makes it a little bit obvious we're able to decide to catch up. So yeah, there's the first Bowser space throughout the majority of this Let's Play so far. So yeah, gotta think about it though. Oh wait a minute, that she'll get something very rewarding if she was in 4th place. So I guess that Bowser was very generous of her by giving her 10 coins, so rather than just be punishing and stuff like that. The only time it does activate the roulette though, I can assure to you anyway, is the fact that if you're in 1st, 2nd or 3rd. Which I'm presuming so anyway. Alright, hide and sneak, and this is from Mario Party 3. And the biggest difference is this time around though, as you can see on this little practice screen, no longer need to rely on the forms of the control stick in order to able to choose which specific cardboard inserts to hide in. So instead, this time around though, it's been replaced by the 4 face buttons. So, I guess that makes it a little bit of a massive differences between, you know, this particular version of this minigame than the original version. So, thus, of course, the visuals look spectacular to look at, especially because, you know, this is the greatest looking Mario Party game I've ever seen visual-wise, so... But I digress. Okay, so far so good, because somehow we just split up. So yeah, in terms of items for the sake of Mario Party Superstars though, in comparison to the forms of how it does it on Super Mario Party, that in certain items in Super Mario Party, you do get yourselves Dash Mushroom, which gives you 3+ movement space, and also there's the Poison Mushroom, which allows you to give you negative space movements, and for Golden Dash Mushroom will give you 5 movements, and also Golden Drink, which gives you 1 coin every time you're able to actually get, depending how good your dice roll is, then basically though you can get so many coins if you manage to get like, let's just say for instance, if you manage to get like 6 or something, and then basically though is the fact that you get like, I think roughly 6 coins, so, as well as the Golden Pipe, which, to be confirmed, that this game does manage to bring back, you know, Golden Pipe, so, and also well, except for Cornado, alongside with the allied kind of items and stuff like that. I can assure you so anyway. So, but I digress. So it looks like that Donkey Kong just, well, give us the actual cursed dice block, as you can see. So yeah, certain items though, that in terms of Mario Party Superstars though, that obviously as you saw, that we already come across into Mushroom, which I'm thinking, kind of thinking about it though, is the fact that it kind of functioned the same way as the forms of how it does, how it does on the Golden Dash Mushroom. That's obviously you get 5+ movements and stuff like that, even though except the fact that there's no golden variation this time around though, which, you know, it makes it pretty obvious because of how the fact that, well, you know what I mean, how the fact that we're going back to the past or something, so... Anyway, so good thing we managed able to warp right to where DK was, and event space. So it's a good thing that we did manage to use that item from the Gep guy, because otherwise, we're just gonna have to able to meet up with Boo eventually in the next couple of turns, assuming if we're able to get ourselves a good old dice roll, so... Seriously, Bono just keeps on getting herself some very low numbers recently. Although, it only happens most of the time though, so... And there's also the forms of the cursed dice block, which allows you to able to roll through 1 through 3, which is kind of the same thing as the forms of how it does it on, well, let's just say the cursed mushroom from the likes of Mario Party 2 and Mario Party 3. Oh, no, wait, you say Mario Party 2, right? Well, I actually disagree, because if you somehow cast the actual cursed spell, as far as you meant to say, from Mario Party 2, because as far as I'm aware, I think it's Mario Party 3 that actually introduced into ourselves the, well, let's just say the poison mushrooms, so that's, you know what I mean. Okay, so here we go on to this next minigame, which appears to be Handcar Havoc, and as you can see on screen, this is obviously based off of Mario Party 1 due to the forms of the environment, because technically we've already stumbled across the Mario Party 2 version, thanks to the forms of the Top 100 version, because obviously with the different environment and all that stuff, so yeah, basically in this minigame right here is the fact that we need to make our way to the end of the actual race track. And basically though, you're gonna have to keep yourself a bit balanced when it comes to likely if you come across into those curves, then basically though, if you dare fall off, you lose the minigame, so... And conveniently enough though, we haven't exactly beaten our new record on this minigame, just because there was that one time that we actually did manage to play this game in our own time in online play. For some reason, we just keep on losing this minigame sometimes due to the forms of our AI, or in some cases though, certain players around the world doesn't seem to know how to play the game proper, so... But thankfully we got ourselves another new record, so huzzah for that. And yeah, let's talk about the forms of another selections of items, how this game introduced into ourselves. Next we have is the double dice, which it kind of functions the same way as the forms of the regular mushroom item, for the likes of in Mario Party 2, Mario Party 3, as well as the mushroom capsule in Mario Party 5, and orbs from the likes of in the, well, Mario Party 6, 7, and especially noticeable with the candy, twice candy specifically in Mario Party 8, and on top of all that stuff though, the double dice set for Mario Party DS, where basically it allows you to able to have 2 dice blocks in one turn, so that would be pretty helpful though, especially noticeable if you really want to get ourselves the, I want to say the running star in this game now, because either way though, that will point it out whenever we get to the later boards throughout the game, despite the fact that the bonus stars choices is still completely random if you decide able to turn them on completely. And on top of all that stuff though, oh speaking of which, we got ourselves our first chance time space. So yeah, basically, it functions the same way as the forms of how it does it from any other chance times from the likes of the past Mario Party games, and, well, it looks like that both Bodo and Peach have the exact same amount of stars, and nothing different from there.
Here we go.
How strange was that? So, anyway... Oh yeah, something's worth mentioning, that golden pipe right there, obviously that item brought back from the likes of in Super Mario Party, but the biggest difference is this time, it's actually pretty expensive this time around, which is a good thing, because unlike in, you know, like I said before, since during the forms have been Super Mario Party, that it costs about 10 coins for that golden pipe in Super Mario Party, despite how cheap it is. So as a result though, I'm glad this is improved. Especially noticeable because certain items are actually getting a bit pricey these days. Yeah, especially noticeable because, well, you know what I'm saying, so... Okay, so next minigame is in 2 vs 2 again. So, and this time we're going to be teaming up with Donkey Kong in Burn style. And this is obviously based off of Mario Party 6, so... Yeah, it's kind of like a hard rope jump, but in a 2 vs 2 variant. So, it's just the fact that you have to jump over for the actual burn style, so... Yeah, and if you fell off the lava, you also be out as well, so, at least I'm very glad that this minigame was included, especially how intense that can be. So, yeah, you're pretty much... Oh, dang it, I timed it way too early! Oh, dang it, that ended off very fast. Yeah, especially noticeable because sometimes though that the controls in physics has been slightly changed up a bit slightly because, well, I'm going to admit it though right away, I'm still more accustomed to the original controls though, as well as the original physics for this matter though, just because of how fluid it was back in the old version, but it takes a bit while to get used to sometimes, so... Anyway though, and there's also the forms of the warp block, as we already saw, which allows you to switch between those, you know, random opponents, and also there is the forms of, the triple dice block, which is functioned the same way as the forms of how it does it on, the golden mushroom from the likes of in, you know, Mario Party 2, Mario Party 3, alongside with the forms of, let's just say the Super Mega Mushroom from Mario Party 4. And on top of all that stuff though, Super Mushroom Capsule from the likes of in, you know, Mario Party 5, and also Golden Mushroom Orbs from the likes of 6 and 7, and Thrice Candy in Mario Party 8, and on top of all that stuff though with Triple Dice Set, that's how you get yourselves 3 dice blocks, which again, very recommendable, assuming if you really want able to get yourselves like the Running Star if that comes into play. And also there's the forms of some familiar items from the likes of in Mario Party 2, and that's what appears to be by the forms of, well, the plunger chest, which allows you to able to steal someone else's item, which will be pretty useful though, especially noticeable if you don't have any items with you, that basically you can able to actually just to like steal someone else's items and do just that. And on top of all that stuff though, there's also the boot bell, which allows you to able to actually steal the actual coins or star from any random occasions. So yeah, it looks like we're about to able to get ourselves a bit of a payback from Peach, even though despite she wants to get that star back, so... Oh well, we'll still have to be in second, unfortunately. But let's just hope that somebody else doesn't seem to able to land on that particular happening space, which I hopefully highly doubt it, so... Anyway, so it looks like Peach is gonna go for the actual item, and she fails the actual challenge, so... I guess that might be a little bit more super insufficient right here. Alright, so the next minigame we have is Crazy Cutters. And this is obviously based off from the Mario Party 1 version. Although, to be fair though, it does have some bit of similar shapes in terms of not only for the sake of the forms of in Mario Party 1, but certain shapes based off of Mario Party 2, as you can see on screen, that as you can tell, we're about to be able to cut out blooper, which is obviously based off of Mario Party 2, except the fact that the entire environment obviously takes place in Mario Party 1, as well as the actual music in the background, so yeah, I guess that makes a little bit obvious sense, doesn't it? And there's also the forms of the Dueling Glove, which allows you to able to duel against with someone in a duel minigame. And there's also the forms of, well, the only thing is worth noting for when it comes to the Dueling Glove, it kind of functions the same way as the forms of how it does it in Mario Party 2 and Mario Party 3. And what do I mean by that though is the fact that you can't able to wager stars, so instead you have to wager coins. So yeah, I guess that makes a little bit obvious sense, doesn't it? Because obviously a throwback to the original trilogy. And on top of all that stuff though is the fact that, well, you just participated in the actual duel minigames to begin with. And there's also the forms of, a hidden block card, which is actually the returning item from the likes of in Super Mario Party, where obviously about the fact that you were able to get that hidden block from any space the way you were able to actually use it from. So yeah, nothing different from there, except, you know, you don't need to able to deal with the forms of the timing roulette thing, so it's gonna be like a 50-50 chance between, you know, coins and stars, and you name the rest. Yeah, I totally get that. So a few things I want to point out as well before we mention more items for the sake of this game. Today's date is of course the 2nd of October today, in this case in 2022 according to this particular recording session. So nothing else is going on, I'm afraid, apart from the fact that, well, not long now until Mario Kart Tour finally gets its actual, like, fixed update for the sake of the forms of no longer using rupees for the stupid gacha moments, and also on top of all that stuff though, adding some new features like the, you know, battle mode and stuff like that, which I'm very, pleased to hear that, because we have not seen any, well, we'll find out about more details about the forms of the battle stages from now on until, we'll talk more about it until whenever we get to next weekend, I'm presuming so. Yeah, just in case for now on though, we're just gonna be able to wait until about 3 days time now, so yeah, anyway, and also about the fact the matter is though, is the fact that another item they brought back from the likes of the forms of not only from Mario Party 2, but also with Mario Party 4 as well. Yeah, we're referring to as mentioning as the forms of Trump Call. Although, to be fair, that the last time we actually saw the Trump Call was actually back in Mario Party the Top 100, because, well, that item also appeared in that game, and as a result though, it will able to actually once again allows you to able to let the star space be moved to someplace elsewhere, so, goal! And this is obviously from Mario Party 4, as you can see on screen. And basically, all we have to do is basically we need to score for about 10 goals, and that's pretty much about it for the team of 3. However, in its the solo side, they need to like block the actual footballs. So yeah, that's basically all this goes to this point. Oh, and something's worth mentioning, just like in the top 100 though, is the fact that certain handheld Mario Party games are not included in this entire compilation. Because, you know, it makes sense, because obviously not only this is on the Nintendo Switch now, but also about the fact that it's more likely a console/handheld hybrid of any sort. So, yeah, because unlike any forms of how it does it on Super Mario Party, that you can't play Super Mario Party on handheld mode, because obviously that it requires you to be able to use the Joy-Con controllers. And on top of all that stuff though, there's only like 2 playable modes for the actual, you know, the playability when it comes to like playing Super Mario Party. Like you can either play on TV mode as well as the forms of tabletop mode, and that's pretty much about it basically, Pac-Man. And as far as I'm aware, in this game in particular this time around, not only do you play the game on TV mode, but also tabletop mode, and finally handheld mode, which as a result, we do appreciate about this choice. Yeah, especially noticeable because, you know, we no need to worry about the forms of the Joy-Con drifting of any sorts, so yeah, assuming if you're able to actually play the game within Pro Controller or the GameCube controller, if you're about to be fancy for that kind of stuff. So anyway, so we get ourselves 10 more coins thanks to Koopa Troopa here, and this is our first item minigame we can show off. This looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? And in fact, this particular item minigame, as you can see on screen, this is actually based off from Mario Party 2, called Rollout for Barrels, from the likes of in Pirate Land. Although, the only noticeable difference is, this time around though, it does not take place in the actual piratey environments this time around. Kind of a shame, honestly, but it knows where it stands, I guess. However though, there's only 5 item minigames to be found in this game, so it seems not as much compared to the forms of how it does it in both Mario Party 2 and Mario Party 3, but it's nice to see the actual item minigames do return for the sake of the forms of this game. But here's the thing though, is the fact that I'm pretty sure we will come across into 2 item minigames based off of Mario Party 2, and also 3 item minigames from Mario Party 3. So yeah, but however though, they are completely random though, so either way though, because chances are though, we have no idea what specific minigames we'll come across into next. Okay, that's fine. 9 coins have been taken by Bodo, so that should be alright, I guess. And there's also the forms of, as I said before, there's actually the skeleton key. That, yes, skeleton key is back from the likes of the forms of both, not only for Mario Party 2, but also Mario Party 3 as well. But here's the catch though, is the fact that the skeleton key only appears in the, specifically, Mario Party 2 boards as well as the Woody Woods board for Mario Party 3. And because of that though, we'll point it out whenever we get to it until Spaceland next weekend, so... Alright, here we go with Titled Toss, and this is based off of Mario Party 3 as you can see, and basically in a team of 3 needs to jump over to those waves, while the solo team needs to able to create some ground pounds, so... In fact, this minigame is kind of like the reverse version of making waves from Mario Party 4, except the fact that making waves does not appear in this game. So, that's something worth classifying for noticing this from the start. So, anyway though, there's also the forms of some of these special items they are able to actually include in this game. Usually, relatively speaking, there are, well, quite a few items. Well, we already saw the item bag already. And dang it, we did somehow lost, because again, timing jumps can be felt a bit slightly strange sometimes, especially after getting used to with the original version of some of these minigames. But again, it does take some bit of time to get used to with it sometimes. Alright, turn 22, so I wonder how DK is gonna deal with this. And somehow he misses the start, so that should be alright I guess. And especially noticeable if Peach or Bodo. Although I'm pretty sure that, it's hard to tell, because either way though, I haven't exactly paid attention to certain stuff as much, but we'll go ahead and use the double dice, so just in case we're able to get ourselves some, more numbers from here. And, screw it, I think we should probably just go ahead and, go to the right, and, just to make sure we don't able to land on that Bowser space though, because otherwise, we'll be really screwed, especially noticeable if the star thing comes into play. Basically though, that we will able to expect to be a massive loss, so... Alright, so instead we're able to get ourselves 10 coins, so we got 6 coins back, plus 4 more from the likes of that lucky space, so... And meanwhile for Bodo, she's gonna use her cursed dice block right up against with Peach, just to ensure if she doesn't get to the star, so... I guess that makes it pretty obvious for the sake of vendetta against someone, I suppose. Anyway, let's talk about the forms of another 2 items they're able to obviously got themselves to able to like... Well, again, hard to explain because it's been quite a few hours since we actually last recorded this. Speaking of the item bag, there's the item bag here. So obviously that you will get 2 items out of that bag. So it's completely randomized by the way. So in some cases though, she gets a triple dice and a mushroom. So yeah, it should be all good for her anyway. So yeah, as far as the final 2 items they obviously got in this game is the fact that obviously there's the super warp block, which what the difference is this time around though, is the fact that, relatively speaking, unlike the regular warp block, that basically warp block allows you to able to go through random spots, whilst in the forms of the super version of that particular super warp block is the fact that you can able to have a choice which specific space you want able to replace with. So yeah, that seems pretty handy though, especially noticeable if we get to the nearly towards the end of throughout the majority of certain boards or something like this. And finally, perhaps even most notable thing out of them all though, is the fact that we actually have ourselves the returning item from not only from the likes of Mario Party Star Rush, but also Super Mario Party as well. We actually got ourselves the double star card, which this allows you to able to like... I'm not even why I say things twice by the way, because I was gonna say something clearly, but apparently I somehow got distracted because as you can see, Peach got another 3 set of items thanks to that particular lucky space. So anyways, with the double star cards, this allows you to able to exchange not 1 but 2 stars in that specific turn. And you have to pay double the amount of coins in order to able to buy 2 stars, like usually roughly about 40 coins, so that's something worth classifying for noticing this. So anyways, the next minigame we have right here is Later Skater, and this is obviously based off of Mario Party 5, because obviously with the actual environments this takes place, and it's a pretty easy minigame, I'm not gonna lie, especially noticeable if you try to be paying attention to the actual, like, you know, timing with your turns and stuff like that, then you should do it fine. However though, if you bump into any walls or the sides throughout, then obviously you will slow down, so I just realized that the actual track itself is a bit smaller in comparison to the forms of how it does in the original versions for this point. Well, it might be hard to explain, honestly, because it's been a very long while since we actually last played this minigame in the original form. Yeah, after all, the forms of about a year ago, so yeah, so for certain items based off from Super Mario Party, that's the Poison Mushroom, Golden Dash Mushroom, including Golden Drink, I meant to say, alongside with Coinado, Allied Phone, alongside with Peeper Bell, Fly Guide Ticket, and especially noticeable with the forms of, let's just say, anything else actually, is no longer present, so I guess that makes a pretty obvious sense, because, you know, going back into its original roots. Yeah, I know, I think you're already on about this, and we do apologize if our commentary gets a little bit too stilted at points, but that's only mainly because I think that's the only stuff we can possibly think of, so alright, Bodo, what are you gonna do here? You're gonna use your triple dice set, because I'm pretty sure that you're so desperate able to get yourselves the, well, the next star as a result. And sure enough, she got enough space movements to able to meet up with Toadette. Oh, yeah, and another thing we'd like to point out as well is the fact that ever since about a couple of weeks ago actually, recently, about the fact that when it comes to Sonic Frontiers on the forms of in the Tokyo Game Show, that apparently though, Sonic Frontiers has just recently won the actual a category for its prize. And this what appears to be by the forms of, well, Sonic Frontiers has won the Japan Game Awards 2022 for the best anticipated game in Japan. And this is also the first time ever in the Sonic series they're able to win this prize in this category. So yeah, big congratulations to not only from everyone from Sega and Sonic Team, but everyone involved in making the Sonic Frontiers game. So yeah, I do appreciate about that, and especially noticeable that, you know, we only got about 1 month left until that game finally comes out, so anyway, so here's the next minigame right here, which is Coconut Conk, and this is obviously based off of Mario Party 3, so basically in a team of 3, needs to able to do ground pounds to able to, like, you know, get the actual coconuts off the trees, and then in the solo player, needs to able to avoid any other coconuts falling from the trees, so yeah, that's basically all I have to do for this minigame right here, so I could possibly be able to actually mention more details aside from the forms of Sonic Frontiers with this good old rewards or something like that. Oh, and another thing we'd like to mention about this as well, that ever since also in about a month ago almost, that you remember the forms of the, you know, the Monsters Inc. Short film called Mike's New Car? Apparently though, that particular short has been out for about 20 years ago. Well, to be more specifically, with the release of Monsters Inc. on not only on DVD, but also on VHS as well. So as a result though, happy 20th anniversary of the release of not only Monsters Inc. on DVD and VHS, but also alongside with the forms of the short film too, with the forms of Mike's New Car. Now I'm gonna say, I found it very hilariously entertaining after like, well, 20 years since when it first came out. So, how's that for that one right there? Especially because, well, got to think about it though is the fact that, well, we just cannot wait to see what's gonna be up next for certain things throughout, so Anyway, so we got ourselves the cursed dice block thanks to Bowser right here. Yeah, there are a few rare occasions where basically sometimes Bowser will able to give you a Bowser tube, or in other occasions though is the fact that he will give you the cursed dice block depending on the forms of certain stipulations. Well, it only happens during the forms within the Mario Party 1 boards, because as far as I'm aware, in Mario Party 2 boards, along with the 3 board as well, or specifically Mario Party 3 for Woody Woods, as far as I'm aware, that if we get to Spaceland alongside with Horrorland, then you do realize about the fact that there is one missing factor when it comes to the forms of certain boards in Mario Party 2. About the fact the matter is though, is that the baby Bowser space is no longer there. Yeah, I guess it makes it a little bit more less punishing than the forms of how it does it in the forms of in the original Mario Party 2 game. And on top of all that stuff though is the fact that you notice on certain minigames, as you probably already noticed, from the likes of the forms of rollouts for barrels in the item minigame, alongside with Quicksand Kashi minigame for Mario Party 2, that you do realize that Bowser Jr. is now taking over when it comes to certain stimulations. So, but we'll get some more in a second, because here we have the final countdown. Anyway, enough about that, because obviously we don't get copyright strike from that song. But still, it's a very good song by Europe, I believe. Yeah. So, here we go with the final countdown, and this is obviously based off of Mario Party 7, as you can see. So, yeah, basically we still need to watch out for those specific numbers, and if he reaches to 0, this means he opens up the platform. And I will still say, I'm very glad that this minigame does return though, alongside with the top 100 version as well, because you gotta figure about it, this is a great survival minigame, and especially noticeable as the best battle minigame in the entire Mario Party 7 game, so yeah, but at least it's nice to see that particular minigame again, but this time in gorgeous HD, so that's all for this one. Alright, so I believe we're now on turn number 25, at least as far as I can recall. So, anyway, and there's also another thing we'd like to mention about in regards to the forms of the character roster has been confirmed for the sake of Street Fighter 6 until next year. And that is the fact that, well, there is actually some returning fighters, alongside with some new ones essentially as well. Although we can't think about it on the top of my head, because it's been a very long while since we actually researched upon the forms of stuff related to Street Fighter. So basically though, we get certain characters like Ryu and Ken, and Zingroff, and also Chun-Li, and Chun-Mei, I think that's what it says anyway, as well as GP, Lily, Marcia, and Manon, and there's also Jamie, and DJ, I think that's what it says anyway, Luke, alongside with the forms of Juri, and on top of all that stuff though with Blinka, and as well as the forms of Guile, and any other characters we can probably think of, but again, it's been a very long time since we actually known about Street Fighter stuff, because as far as I'm aware, that's we obviously more used to with the forms of other games that we play throughout the years, so. Oh, speaking of Sonic Frontiers actually, is the fact that, apparently though, Sakurai, the creator of Super Smash Bros. After all, that he somehow really enjoys Sonic Frontiers, which is actually a good sign. Especially noticeable because, well, relatively speaking though, is the fact that, wow, obviously this is going to be one of the greatest Sonic games we're hoping anyway, assuming if the reviews are up and doing at some point until next month. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. And unfortunately though, there are some negative news we can just like to discuss upon, and that is the fact that, well, obviously as you probably already know, that the PlayStation VR 2 is definitely coming, although we'll get some more details on that in a second, because we have another minigame. This one appears to be Bounce and Trounce, and this is basically based off of Mario Party 3, as you can see on this entire, well, what the game is originally from, so, or don't you mean the minigame was originated from, so. Yeah, I just have no idea why that minigame does manage to bring a brought back for this point, but honestly, this is alright. Well, not the greatest choice, but either way though, it's nice able to include that, I guess, even though it's kind of like a similar minigame as in Bumper Balls from the likes of video forms of in, you know, Mario Party 1 and Mario Party 2 essentially, and in fact that the Bumper Balls is already on the Mario Party 2 variation in this game here, so yeah, I guess that makes it a little bit obvious for the sake of that choice, I suppose. But anyway though, enough about that, although we'll talk more details about the forms of the unfortunate news for the sake of in regards to the forms of PlayStation VR 2 in a second, because, wow, this will be the last time we'll be seeing the actual, the bonus minigame will trigger, because after all, we're now in the last 5-turn event. And basically, similar to the forms of how it does it on the previous games, that Toad is going to tell us the current standings so far, in terms of which boards you played on. And also, he actually decided able to bring in somebody, specifically in this board's case, that he will say something to the Cheep Cheep, and the Cheep Cheep is thinking about predicting that Bodo might potentially try to win. And basically, Bodo, she gets like 20 coins. And also similar to other Mario Party games, that certain blue and red spaces will be doubled. So in this case though, it will be like if you land on blue spaces, then obviously you get 6 coins. And if you land on red spaces, you take away 6 coins. And basically though, if you somehow manage to land on the same spot as each other, basically it functions the same way as the forms of how it does it in Mario Party 2, 3, 5, and 6. That you're able to activate the duel minigame. So that's another alternative way if you're most able to compete against each other for the sake of the duel minigames. So, and as you can tell, since we're on the last 5-turn event as well, that as you notice is the fact that the actual background theme of the music is actually being altered slightly. So yeah, it's kind of similar to the ones how it does it in, let's just say in Star Rush, the Top 100, and Super as well. So because of that though, they just managed able to alternate certain themes slightly on the last 5-turn events. So, and here's the thing though, is the fact that if you experience the board for the first time, and basically though, you do able to have the ability to unlock the actual classic music as well. So this means about the fact that in order able to change that, is the fact that you have to go to the options room, and then basically you can able to change the actual which specific version do you prefer for certain boards throughout. Like for example, if you're not too comfortable with the forms of the modern version of the music itself, and basically though, you can able to change to well, the classic version for more nostalgia base. So, and speaking of such though, there's Bodo got herself the hidden block thanks to the forms of that. Oh, so it looks like Peach is gonna duel against with us. So, yep, let's see how much coins she's gonna wager. So, and she's gonna wager about 14 coins. So, let's see how this goes, hey? And we're able to get 28 coins. So hopefully we'll try to win this no matter what. In which specific minigame are we doing? In this case, mass media, and this is obviously based off of Mario Party 6. So, and basically we need to avoid those asteroids, so just in case you don't able to get stunned. So, yeah, that's basically how you get the gist of it, so. Anyways, let's get to the forms of the unfortunate news for in regards to the forms of, you know, PlayStation VR 2, is that for some stupid reason, it's not backwards compatible with PlayStation VR 1 games. So, I get it because the forms then we move on to the next new generation of any sort, so because of that though, I can totally understand why they're able to actually go for this decision. But for certain fans, for the sake of the forms of backwards compatibility stuff, if they missed out on the forms of PlayStation VR 1 games, and basically though is the fact that, well, it seems it's kind of unfortunate that it doesn't seem able to do backwards compatibility with the previous versions of PlayStation VR games selection-wise. But I digress. So yeah, we did somehow win, despite we actually did manage to get stunned once for the sake of the forms of one of those asteroids, so. Oh, and another thing we'd like to point out as well is the fact that Bandai Namco has been confirmed about the fact that in regards to the forms of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, the actual Dragon Ball Z RPG game after all, has decided able to actually include is actually getting its second pass too, which actually includes a brand new DLC based off from the forms of the TV special Bardock, the Father of Goku. Which I think what that means is the fact you're able to take control of Bardock throughout the majority of that particular DLC. So it'll be pretty interesting once that's turns out to be, so. Alright, next minigame we have is Roll Call, and this is obviously based off of Mario Party 2, as you can see on screen. And basically, just like the forms of how it does it on the original version, that obviously we're able to experience all 3 versions of this minigame right here, not just one. Because unlike the top 100 version of this minigame though, you have to go through only one variation of this minigame, and that's pretty much about it, which appears to be the Bob-Ombs counting stage. But thankfully in the Superstars version, they not only do you get the Bob-Omb stage, but also Boo and finally Toad stage. So because of that though, we're still very glad that seems to be the case, because obviously without them, they'll make the entire purpose of this particular thing incredibly bare bones, as far as I'm aware. But I digress. Alright, so we predicted 17, so I wonder what the final answer will it be. Oh, so close. We're literally 1 off, but that's okay, because we still count as a win. Especially because if you didn't get the exact answer, then basically though, you're still able to get a chance to win this no matter what. So, there it goes. Oh, and another thing we'd like to mention about this as well. One of those games is actually gonna got itself its release date so far, in regards to the forms of one of those Japanese anime games or something like that. It's called One Piece Odyssey. Basically though, really? Do you really have to steal our coins? Although mind you, we actually got most of those coins anyway. And also, as you can see on screen, we now able to actually have ourselves the meter with it this time around, where it comes to like mashing buttons and stuff like that. And what that means though is the fact that the more you mash them, basically you're able to get some bit of chance that you don't able to get the majority of your coins being stolen. So that's nice to have. Alright, so let's see. Yeah, let's just hopefully we can get a bigger roll, such as for instance we got 5, better than 3, because if we get 3, we'll be screwed. Because otherwise though, it'll be switcheroo kind of syndrome or something, so there we go. So I believe we're now on 6 stars so far, which is good, because otherwise, we'll be surely able to actually get ourselves even more coins, in addition to the forms of the leveling up system, which, yes, just like the forms of how it does it on the party level system for the likes of in Star Rush, basically though is the fact that you can able to actually level up your meter around. Except this time around though, rather than just going on to the forms of level star as the maximum potential, so instead it's now being replaced that if you get level 99, that's the only maximum potential you can get. So that'll be interesting, especially noticeable. Well, unfortunately though, spoiler alert, I don't think we can able to reach for about level 99 in this video, but definitely in the next board for sure. So, X-Ray Payday. That minigame is familiar, because it's obviously based off from Mario Party 6, which, potentially speaking, this minigame was originally named Money Belt. Yeah, because as far as I'm aware, you have to deal with the conveyor belts, and especially noticeable that we need to, like, pick up the box that sometimes mostly contains a coin bag, the regular coin, and you name the rest. Oh, I see why that this minigame does have its different name as opposed to Money Belt, because they don't want able to get confusion for the sake of not only Money Belt, but also Money Belts from Mario Party 4 as well, which, truth be told, has been confirmed in this game particularly. So as a result though, just in case they don't able to get confused of which specific minigame's name it was. So, I can totally see why that serves to be the case, they're able to replace one of those minigame names, specifically X-Ray Payday. So, yeah, basically you have to keep an eye on what the forms of that particular X-ray scanner, so just in case that you will able to get something in there. So, and also we've now managed to able to realize that we've got all 20 coins, so no longer it's going to be stuck around for 19 coins, unlike the original version of that particular minigame. So instead that we've actually got, well, exactly 20 coins now. So, and speaking of which though, is the fact that unlike in Super Mario Party, where basically though is the fact that the last 5 turn events does not trigger until it reached that certain point for the last 3 turn events, which is a bit odd choice, you know, just like it informs of how it does it on, what's to say, home stretch on the likes of in Amiibo Party, from the likes of in Mario Party 10 in some scenarios. And on top of all that stuff though, with regards to the forms of in Mario Party 7, that you have to deal with the forms of the final 4 turn event, which again is a little bit odd choice, kind of think about it. And relatively speaking though, there's not much right to home about, I guess. And Yeah, anyway, let's get to the forms of that particular release date that's been confirmed in one of those Japanese anime games alike, which appears to be One Piece Odyssey. So far, in regards to the forms of that particular release date for that game, it's going to be releasing until next year, just like the forms of how it does it on The Legend of Zelda. Well, we're probably not going to mention more about it right now, because I think we'll let Maxie will talk more about that until specifically when he goes back on to Super Mario 3D All-Stars in the likes of in Super Mario Galaxy game. So for now, we'll focus on the forms of some minor news. So yeah, because as a result, yeah, One Piece Odyssey will be releasing next year, specifically on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S until the 12th of January in 2023. Anyway, so before we get into more details onto this though, here we have To Bit or Lose It, and this is obviously based off of Mario Party 5, as you can see on this gameplay footage. So basically, one player needs to be able to take control of this particular little destroyer machine, whilst the other three needs to be able to dodge the actual contraption. So yeah, and then basically, if your inflatable rafting thing were able to get popped, then you'll be out of the game. So but yeah, not much else to say. And there's also being able to destroy those rocks and logs, or stumps for that matter, so just in case it doesn't get in your way sometimes. Oh, we got them cornered! Nicely done right there. So anyway, in terms of the Steam PC version of that One Piece Odyssey, you're expecting to be releasing until a day before the other console versions. So in some cases though, it's going to be releasing until 13th of January in 2023. However though, here's the thing though, no Xbox One release this time around though. I'm guessing it's probably because they want to like improve the graphics a little bit or something like that. Oh, okay. I might be alright with this, because obviously that's, somehow, despite the fact that we somehow ignored the booze stealing departments right there, so that's okay. Oh, jeez Louise, 42 coins that DK's gonna bet on. Good lord, man. So I wonder who's gonna win. But unfortunately though, just like in Mario Party 9, and as well as the forms of other games in terms of ND-Cube Mario Party titles, you still have to able to mainly focus on the, well, let's just say that you still have to force to able to skip them, as opposed to like watching them, to able to actually participate in the duel minigame. Kind of a shame honestly, because we do miss the old days of watching some chaotic moments for certain CPU players to be able to actually participate in the duel minigames. However though, in online play on the other hand though in this game, is the fact that you can technically able to watch other players play it, so at least that's something. Oh, this looks familiar. This appears to be Swinging with Sharks from Mario Party 3. Ah, dang it! I messed up that jump.
Too bad.
Oh, and something's worth mentioning, if you ever played the game in Japanese version of Mario Party Superstars, the announcer will able to say something a bit different if you manage to get the item in the English version that she obviously says, got it, in the English version. However, in the Japanese version, she did say something a bit different, and she says, got item. So, yeah, something is a little bit interesting. And so applies if you somehow manage to, oh for love of God, she got her second hidden block. Gee, how lucky you are. Anyway though, if you ever didn't get the item though, in the English version, as you probably already saw, that the announcer did say, too bad. And then, if you ever play the game in the Japanese version, she actually says, miss. Which actually is more likely a nice little throwback to the forms of how it does it on, you know, the Mario Party N64 games. So, yeah, it seems interesting when it comes to certain comparisons between, you know, multiple versions alike. Alright, so Goomba spotting, and this is based off from Mario Party 9, and this is another counting minigame as you can see on screen. And this time around though, we need to count Goombas instead of counting up the Bob-Ombs, Boos, and Toads. So, and obviously don't count those Buzzy Beetles because otherwise you get sidetracked, and on top of that, if you do count it, then you will lose, and just have to be sure you need to be able to count it very carefully, so... So yeah, there's not much else you can say about Goomba spotting. It's just, you know, it's kind of like the forms of roll call, except you only gonna have to count it up instead of like counting backwards, so... Alright, so let's see how many Goombas we counted for. 37 we said? And I think we get a strong sense of feeling once again we're off by 1, so... That's okay, because we still managed to technically win. Yeah. Because gotta think about it though, that much like in, you know, in Mario Party 1... No, Mario Party 9, essentially. That, you can still able to win if you don't get accurate numbers, so... Alright, the final turn in Yoshi's Tropical Island. So, we're getting very close for this point, despite how lengthy this is. Especially noticeable because there are quite a lot of board events around here. And on top of all that stuff though is the fact that there's going to be a lot of cinematics in this time around though, because relatively speaking, that's how you always have to sit and watch throughout the majority of like, you know, you got star scenes and stuff like that, so... Anyway, so it looks like we stumbled across another duel minigame against with Bodo this time, and I think we should probably bet on... let's not go for that much coins. I think we'll go for just 15 for now, so... Just in case we want to play it safe, for likely if we don't able to lose on this sometimes. So let's begin with our next duel minigame. In some cases we have Spin Doctor, and this is based off from Mario Party 7. So, I think, relatively speaking, that we've almost played every single Mario Party 7 minigames throughout the majority of Mario Party Superstars so far. Yeah, kind of cool, but also, I kind of wish there was actually more to it when it comes to Mario Party 7 minigames, but it's fine, I guess. So anyway, another disappointing aspect about the forms of today's discussion though, specifically if you're waiting to able to get your chance on getting the forms of the physical copy of, let's just say, Taiku non Son Jamen, Rhythm Festival. Unfortunately though, the physical version of that game has been delayed until the 7th of October, which... As a result though, technically it already came out on the digital version, however though, in a physical form you need to wait for a little while. So, yeah, just for sure about the fact that if you're about able to get the game physically though, then you're gonna have to wait sadly, so I guess it's that. Oh, and one more thing before we end off this board is the fact that those Eiden Chronicle Rising is actually getting its physical release on the Switch, and that's also going to be releasing until 2023 as well. And relatively speaking now, it's going to due out at some point on the 26th of January in 2023. So, yeah, it looks like we get the feeling that 2023 is going to be a massive year for sure. And on top of all that stuff though, we got ourselves another new character that's actually introduced for the sake of the forms of Overwatch 2. I actually gotta think about it, Overwatch 2 is gonna be not long now until when it decides to release on free to play, so... Oh yeah, because that game is gonna be releasing until the 4th of October, wasn't it? Yeah, it's 4th of October, Pinky. Oh, that basically explains it, huh? Anyways, here we have Fine With Me, and this is obviously based off of Mario Party 3, and this time around though, the intro is now perfectly normal because, as you can see, we did somehow avoid the actual piranha plant that is trying to eat us from that tree branch. Because unlike any forms of how it does it on the top 100 version, for some reason they decided to replace that into a crumbling platform as opposed to that particular vicious piranha plant that is trying to eat us, but... Either way though, this looks perfectly normal, except the fact that if you do fell off, the piranha plant still doesn't show up if they just try to eat you, but it's close enough. I don't know, we might be biased I guess when it comes to likely comparing the forms of the original versions I suppose. And look how many coins we've got so far, like so many coins, because thanks to the forms of those duel minigames as far as I'm aware. So we can pretty much expect that we can able to win this for sure. Well, the only drawback with this is though is the fact that we have to put up with the random bonus stars, so... Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a problematic, I feel like, so... Anyways, final minigame in Yoshi's Tropical Island, so let's see what minigame are we gonna end off with. Catch you later! And this is obviously based off of Mario Party 6, so obviously we do need able to carry the letters all the way back to the Shy Guy, as you can see on screen, so... And then every once in a while there's going to be the red envelopes, which actually gives you some more points instead of like just one, so... And something's worth mentioning is the fact that in terms of playable characters from the likes of in Super Mario Party, you noticed about the fact that we already pointed things out right away, is that Koopa Troopa is no longer playable alongside with Boo, and on top of all that stuff though with Goomba, as well as Shy Guy as well, and on top of all that stuff though, no Bowser Jr., no Monty Mole, and no Bowser Jr. because he's obviously shows up in certain mini-games. And on top of all that stuff though, Bowser is no longer being playable because, you know, Bowser's base is now returning. And there's also no Hammer Bro essentially, which is kind of unfortunate. And strangely enough though, no playable Diddy Kong or Pon Pon, or even especially noticeable with Dry Bones, which strangely enough though, Dry Bones didn't show up so far, which I honestly have no idea why. So anyways, here we come to the bonus stars. Now, the thing is with this is the fact that since we're going to be playing this board, as you probably already noticed, that we went for this entire board within 30 turns. As we mentioned this before, if you ever play in any boards within 30 turns, basically you're able to stumble across into yourselves 3 bonus stars as opposed to 2. So naturally speaking, we're able to come across into 3 bonus stars. So, let's see whoever gets the rich bonus then. So in this case, we do have the rich bonus, which is kind of a lame name for it, but we like to call it the coin bonus. So, anyway, so we somehow win, regardless. So, however, there's one thing that's kind of a little bit bothering though in this game to me though. Epically bothering me, and especially it's the most annoying thing of them all. There is no special endings anymore. Because basically, in the forms within Mario Party 1 and 2, if you beat certain boards, basically you get yourselves a nice little cinematic opening, or the nice cinematic ending, depending on what boards you go into, then basically you'll be very accomplished if you could become a superstar when it comes to certain boards in Mario Party 1 and 2. But not in this game. You get the photo, which is nice all in all, but that's about it. So, that's something I suppose. So basically, it shows us that we jump for joy if we're in first, and then DK got blocked by the Flump if someone is in fourth, and then I believe Bodo was checking the map on when she was in second place, and also Peach did somehow manage to be very curious about the bridge if she was in third, so you could also just manage to see that photo in full screen. If you really want to capture the picture and put it into your album, then by all means you can do that. And let's check out the detailed results as you can see on screen. So we got ourselves the count for the star, coins we had, as well as obtaining certain coins in certain mini-games, and how much hidden blocks you encountered for, and in some cases though, looks like Bodo has come across into, well, 2 hidden blocks, and then DK got 1. So, and how much items you bought, and how much items you used, how much steps you run through, and how much blue spaces you landed on, and red spaces you landed on, and item spaces you landed on. Event spaces, we somehow landed on 7 of these things. And how much chance time spaces you landed on, how much lucky spaces you land on, Bowser spaces, versus spaces, alongside with how much stickers you use. However, using stickers doesn't count for the bonus stars, I'm afraid. It's just for bragging rights for the sake of, like, well, if you're trying to activate certain stuff like this. And also there's a graph right here which actually tells you how much stars you've gone through. And also if you press the A button, you can able to check up all the forms of bonus stars category as well. So, yeah, that's something worth noting for if you'd be very curious to see how that's going to be represented with. So, anyways, let's capture this little button right here. So just in case, we'll put that into our photos option on our Switch menu. And yeah. And basically, we'll get ourselves some more coins. So, yeah, we'll discuss all that in a moment. So, and it looks like we actually reach up for about level 69, or 96, sorry. So, yeah, we almost at the level 99, so either way though, we'll save that conversation with this Mario Party card. until specifically whenever we get to the extra video. So yeah, with that being said though, we got the endings of this point right here. So join us next weekend for more of Let's Play of Mario Party Superstars for the Nintendo Switch. It's the fact that we're moving on to the next board, which is from Mario Party 2, known as Spaceland. So I'm very looking forward to able to revisiting that board again, except in gorgeous HD and better visuals to boot. So we'll see you guys in next weekend. Later fellas. See you guys in ponies later.